Beach, Florida. Although Trump often spends weekends at the resort, he was at the White House when the breach occurred early Sunday morning. Authorities say the man had a gas can and a shotgun. The FBI says investigators have identified him as 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin of North Carolina. Here's what former FBI Special Agent James Galliano had to say about the Gen Z wannabe killer.
The fact that it was a shotgun and a can of gas or petroleum, from what we hear, these are not assassination tools. We have an apparent Gen Z shooter. And again, group of young men, typically white men, disenfranchised, disenchanted. They feel out of the mainstream, and they percolate in some of the hatred and the vitriol and the rhetoric, the overwrought rhetoric that is put out.
Fox News contributor Laura Trump reacting to those who claim this was not an assassination attempt.
I found it rather disgusting online that there are people who were saying, well, this wasn't an assassination attempt because the president wasn't even there. You don't show up to someone's home with a shotgun and a can of gasoline with good intentions. It's very obvious what this was all about. This was a person who wanted to, at the very least, cause violence and hurt people. And it happened at the very public home of the President of the United States.
A Vermont couple is getting its foster care license back. Chris Woodward explains.
The Vermont Department of Children and Families had a procedure that required parents wanting to get a foster license to commit up front and in advance that they would call a transgender identifying child by whatever name and pronouns the child wanted. Melinda Antonucci and Casey Matthews said that violated the First Amendment. Their attorneys at Center for American Liberty filed a lawsuit. Josh Dixon of Center for American Liberty.
The First Amendment prohibits compelled speech, and it protects religious exercise.
The couple lost at trial court, but an appeal was filed at the second court, and while the case was on appeal, the Center for American Liberty was able to resolve the case with the department, agreeing to adopt a new set of policies that does not require this sort of upfront and in-advance commitment.
Rather, what they will do is they will evaluate a home at the placement stage, and if they feel like a home is not appropriate at the placement stage for an individual transgender identifying child, they won't place the child in that home. But that doesn't mean that the parents lose their license as they did previously. Our clients had their license approved and then revoked because of this procedure, and now as part of the settlement, they're going to get their license back and be able to continue fostering under these new rules.
I'm Chris Woodward.
More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty P.
The mission of AFA is to inform, equip, and activate individuals and families to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and give aid to the church here and abroad in its task of fulfilling the Great Commission. AFA upholds the truth that all human beings, including the unborn, are created in the image of God and are worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim Wildman, and we appreciate you listening to AFR. Today's Monday, February the 23rd, 2026. And joining me in studio is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Fred Jackson. Good morning, Fred.
Hey there, Tim.
All right, folks. Just one story after another we need to get to today. Things happening in our world. Not all of them are good. Some of them are not, to borrow from President Trump, not so good.
And some are good depending on what country you're from.
Well, duly noted. Duly noted. With the Olympic Games, are they over now? Have they had the closing ceremonies?
I think they did last night, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares after the men's hockey championship.
Well, I will say this: the culmination of the most watched event during the Winter Olympics was the U.S. versus Canada hockey match to decide the gold medal.
The men's.
The men's to decide the gold medal. And that was a Donnybrook, right, Fred?
Yeah, it was two really good teams.
Yeah.
And they fought it out. I mean, it was sudden death overtime. A young man by the name of Jack Hughes, playing for the U.S. team, won the winning goal. 2-1 was the score. And it was. I watched some of the highlights last night because, unfortunately, because of the time difference, Sunday morning at 7:30.
That's when it was live?
That's when it was live. And hockey fans like Ed and I and several others in the building here.
You had to decide between church and hockey.
And you could only...
Who won, Fred, for you?
Well, I went to church, but I was telling you guys during our story meeting, I was sitting in Sunday school, and this phone started to blow up.
Okay, and you had to look at it.
I had to look down and
see who was winning.
Somebody was giving me a kind of blow-by-blow.
A fellow Christian who felt ill.
Well, I'm going to give them grace. They were going to the late service.
Okay. I'm just kidding.
Now, he's not talking about me. I was at
church.
church.
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, I want to make that perfectly clear.
You went to church as normal, right?
I went to church as normal. My wife and I go to the 8 o'clock service, the early service, and then I teach Sunday school. So I was a bit frosted when I found out that the game started at 7:10 a.m.
Right.
But that's because of the time difference.
Change.
But as Fred's pointing out, I was also on the thread with several other guys in the building who did not go to church, at least at the time the game was on.
Right. They may have gone later,
yes.
but not at the time the game was on. So, but anyway, the U.S. won in sudden death. I mean, it was...
Yeah. And the way they do it in the Olympics is there are three forwards on each team and the goalie. So when that happens, it is what we call wide open hockey. I mean, these are skating back and forth because there's not as much resistance. And it's all about, getting that first goal.
Yeah.
And the guy, as I mentioned, who scored for the United States, that winning goal, was a young man by the name of Jack Hughes, who paid a bitter price to be on the ice to score that goal. Because if you were watching even the highlights, he was 2 teeth less by the time the game was over. He was still bleeding when he was celebrating this win. But he did a great interview with, I guess it was somebody from NBC. Right after the game, and I was impressed with what he had to say. He said, "This wasn't about me. This was about the United States of America." Cut number 15.
Jack, the first gold medal for the United States in 46 years, and you delivered it. Can you just describe the emotions of this moment right now?
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we had so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today. This
was such an incredible game to grind out. I mean, you're bleeding right through it just looking at you right now. Can you just talk about how difficult this gold medal was to win?
Unbelievable game by Hellebuck. He was our best player tonight by a mile. Unbelievable game. Unreal game by our team. That's American hockey right there.
You not only have that as a reminder, you get that as a reminder too. Did that just show about this game?
I'm lucky I'm from the best country in the world. We got great dentists there too, so.
we got great dentists.
Great dentists there too.
That's funny.
It was that. What I loved about that is that he did not say that he was embarrassed to be from America. Not all the U.S. Olympic teammates. Now I'm talking about the hockey. I'm talking about some of the other sports. There were some in interviews that knocked the U.S. and
their own country.
And listen, we've got our problems, but I said this, a week or so ago. If the U.S. is paying for you to go to and train and then compete and go to the Olympics, just don't talk politics when you're interviewed. Just talk about the sports. And then when you get home, you're free agent. You can say whatever you want. That's part of what's great about the country.
Right.
But it was very refreshing to hear Jack Hughes unapologetically say, I love the United States. I love my country. Yeah. And all these other athletes love their countries. Right. And as they should. None of those countries are perfect either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
For the most part, it's NHL players who play. Hellebuck, who played Great Goldie for the United States, plays for Winnipeg, one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
And my only message to Mr. Hellebuck is, you better play as well when you get home to Winnipeg.
When you get home, as you did in the Olympics?
As you did in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
So the U.S. Wins the gold, Canada wins the silver, and there were some other good hockey teams.
Well, Finland. I think, won the bronze.
Yes.
Yeah. You got to
Well,
keep...
the U.S. and Canada each made it to this final by winning in overtime against another country. So there were a lot of good teams playing, and it's a fun sport to watch when the Olympics are on.
I think it's going to be great for hockey. The last time the United States won the gold was 46 years ago.
It was 1980 when the bunch of college kids beat the Soviet Union.
Yes,
at the time,
Miracle
probably
on
the
Ice.
Miracle on Ice.
Yeah, I was in Bible school in Springfield, Missouri, and I did watch that game.
Yes.
Here's what's interesting. Yesterday's game was the 22nd of February, 46 years to the day.
To the day.
Oh, really?
To the day.
Wow.
That's amazing. And when that big win in 1980 for the United States, hockey just took off in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just took off, and I'm hoping the same thing happens again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, you're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio. So the Winter Olympic Games are over now, and they've been held, obviously, if you paid any attention at all, in Milan, Italy. And I don't know where they got it scheduled 4 years from now. Do you know? Have they said yet?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. What's your first other story, Fred?
First other story. Well, the folks up in the Northeast are undergoing and what we call a nor'easter.
Judgment of God.
Nor'easter. It's not good. There are millions of people affected by this. They are under orders to basically stay at home. Don't even try to get out because in some places over 20 inches of snow, high winds. Winds are coming down. It's called
These are blizzard conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a cyclone bomb or bomb cyclone or something. They're calling it like that. And of course, because the major networks are based in New York, you're getting a lot of coverage today on this. But it's bad, and it's not over yet.
Well, it's probably affecting, a fifth of the country's population, I would guess.
40 million. 40 million people.
Okay, maybe not a fifth, but
a bunch of folks.
A lot of people, a lot of our fellow Americans going through this. Massachusetts,
Maine, Massachusetts,
New York City,
Vermont, all the way down
to Philadelphia.
And they say even some areas of North Carolina are being affected by this.
Is that right?
West Virginia.
Now, when you say it's not over yet, I'm looking at one of the news broadcasts that we have streaming in our own studio here. It looked like there was another storm coming from the west. Is that more snow coming?
This is going to hang around a while.
Okay.
The worst of it is hurting certain areas right now. But you know what? If you were in New York, you could get a job shoveling snow. That they were hiring people.
You mean the city government pays people?
Yes, the
it's $21 an hour.
The socialist communist mayor Mamdani offering people up to $20 an hour. However, there's a stipulation. If you wanted to show up to work hourly to shovel snow, you had to show ID.
5 pieces of ID or something when you first sign up.
When you first sign up. They want to know that you're there legally.
This is
I thought the Democrats didn't believe in ID.
Not for voting.
Well, I thought it was racist.
Well, only when you're talking about voting, not shoveling snow.
Oh, so we all heard this expression I'm about to use before. Let me make sure I understand this. You're saying that in New York City, that you can get a job, a temporary job shoveling snow, but in order to meet the application requirements, you have to show ID.
Yep.
That is, you are who you say you are. However, if you want to go vote, then you don't have to show an ID. or at least you don't have to show
or at least to register. It depends on the state.
Right.
Some you don't have to show an ID to
But
vote.
Democrats,
Some it's to register.
A lot of Democrats do say that requiring an ID to vote is discriminatory.
Yes.
And is Jim Crow 2.0.
Yeah.
So what's the saying now? Jim Snow?
Jim Snow 2.0.
This is Jim Snow 2.0.
Listen, I'm fine with them. If the city's going to pay people these are called emergency snow shovelers.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're like, the city's got the plows, but they need other people to, help with, shoveling, getting some of the smaller areas opened. I think it's a smart idea to have these emergency snow shovelers and to know who's doing it because you're paying them out of the city's tax funds. So you want to make sure that these people aren't signing up and then going to Dunkin' Donuts instead of shoveling. So that's fine.
How are they going to tell that anyway?
Well, there may be some way where they've got to, take pictures of what they've shoveled. I'm not sure how they handle it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a smart idea for them to know and for you to have to sign up because it's not cheap amounts of money that they're going to be paying
This
out.
is where you need robots, honestly. Am I right?
Well, yeah, as long as
Maybe
they're
10
only
years.
armed with a shovel.
Yeah. Well,
I've
this is a
met-
blizzard. This is going to shut down the Northeast for a few days anyway.
Yeah.
Well, tremendous impact on the whole country when it comes to flights. FlightAware is reporting just thousands of flights already canceled.
Yeah.
So this has an impact on the whole nation.
It has a ripple effect on the rest of the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and power. A lot of people out of power. Without power. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, by the way, are we done with this story here? Because Steve Jordahl was listening. He texted me and said the 2030 Olympics is in the French Alps, France.
Is that where the French Alps are in France?
Yes.
Thank
As
you for
opposed to.
Well,
thank you for clearing that up for us.
Well, okay, wise guys, both of you. All right.
New York City's in the state of New York.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
Okay. I try to help. Try to help our listeners.
Oh man, I couldn't resist.
I'm
sorry.
saying it's right here. This is what it says.
Right.
The French Alps, France. So your problem is with the the International Olympic Committee.
For putting that up like that?
Yeah.
And North Americans will suffer again because that means another 7-hour time zone.
Yeah. This is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to make sure I'm sick that Sunday.
Oh man, that's a long way away. Like 4 years. All right. Well, anyway, this blizzard. What is it? New York City had their first blizzard since 2017. There was still snow left that unmelted from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, the big ice storm that went
before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Before this happened, so I don't know. We'll see. But I can't imagine. You're going to have to find some young men to shut, maybe young ladies, but you can't just get out there and shovel for 6-7 hours.
Oh no!
I mean,
you can't do it for 6 hours. And I've shared this story. I think during the blizzard of '78, I was going to Boston College. That was that big storm. I forget how much snow it dumped. But my roommates and I, we said, let's go make some money. And we, we borrowed some snow shovels and we went door to door, $20 and we'll shovel your walkway and your sidewalk. And we lasted about 3 hours because that heavy, wet snow. Now, listen, I was playing ball all the time, very, very active. And I was wiped out after 3 hours because you're trudging through the snow back and forth. So I don't know anybody who can do that for 7 or 8 hours. That's a man's man. That's Chuck Norris level manhood if you can shovel snow, that much snow for 7 or 8 hours.
Well, yeah.
And you do have to be in really good shape. There was a warning. They had a doctor interviewed this morning on Fox and Friends. And just warning older folks.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times.
You'll drop dead.
Heart attacks
Yep.
caused by this. So there's a caution there. If you can hopefully stay at home, not too much in the way of power losses, just stay at home until this gets through.
Right.
You know, there's going to be some stories years from now about babies being born
Yes.
at home.
Yeah.
today and tomorrow. The
Oh.
next day, because listen, these people you're talking about. I know the folks in the Northeast are hardy,
Right.
You know, and they're used to winters that can be brutal. But this is extraordinary, and they can't even get the streets clean with the snow plows before the snow piles up again. They're telling people to stay home, don't have electricity, ambulances can't get everywhere.
Right.
So you're going to have, you know, the ambulances are probably going to have to pick and choose. You know, where can we go? So I'm just saying, I'm gonna bet some babies are born. And
that's a scary thought.
Think about it.
Your wife goes into labor, and you're just like, what do I do?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, they have YouTube videos. Do it yourself. Have you seen these?
Well, you mean with home
They
births?
call them do it yourself.
Oh, DIY?
DIY.
DIY.
You can type in DIY childbirth.
DIY. Okay.
Baby delivery.
Yeah, but you have to have power to
Let
have
me
the
see
internet.
what happens when I do that. Okay. Do what now?
You got to have power, and you got to have the
No,
internet.
you don't. It's just go old school. No, I'm talking midwife. Do you understand?
Yeah,
are
but
we
you're
even
saying
connecting
YouTube
here
videos.
at
You're
all?
saying YouTube videos.
Fred, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to disparage you at all. I'm
It's
asking
the
Fred.
second time today, but that's all right.
Fred, do you know what
Want
I'm
this
talking
kind of
about?
abuse? I'll just go home.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Midwife.
Okay, I'm going to type in baby delivery, do it yourself. That's what I'm talking about.
You may get
do it.
I don't know if you want to look at that. But
Well, true. Do it yourself.
And while you're doing that,
Okay,
the
go
point
ahead.
I was making was, you can look up a YouTube video to deliver your baby if you've got power and internet.
Well, that's true. Then you're completely out of luck, huh?
Now you're opening the window and saying, "Hey,
Right.
Michelle,
Then you're just going to have to.
we need your
You
help."
talk about figuring it out as you go along.
I can just imagine husbands looking at those videos. Honey, I ain't doing that.
I'm not doing that.
Can you
Okay.
hold on for a while?
The first thing that comes up on do-it-yourself baby delivery, it says assisted or emergency, quote, do-it-yourself child delivery carries high risk of complications, including death.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's a bad situation. Anyway, it says first thing you need to do is call 911
Yeah.
to avoid having to deliver the baby. But in this situation, I'm talking about with this blizzard, and the ambulance just can't get out, baby, and you can't get your car out of your driveway to get to the hospital. Probably a lot of folks planned on, I don't know, to go stay at a hotel right by the hospital or something. I don't know. But anyway, you can look up videos on how to deliver babies yourself.
To your point,
See
though.
right there?
Yeah.
At home.
I'm looking at this.
At home, unmedicated water birth.
No.
Our birth story.
Yeah.
So you can do it. Can be done.
The
Go
one,
ahead.
the one good thing about snowstorms, blizzards, you get plenty of warning that it's coming.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
Nowadays,
if you're 9 months along,
Right.
you want to get to a hotel within walking distance of the hospital.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. All right. So you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Thanks for listening to AFR. Tim, Ed, and Fred. No more disparity.
three old guys trying to solve this problem of delivering babies
Right.
without
Back
the
in
help
my
of
day. Back in my day. All right, Fred, what's your next story?
Well, in the midst of everything else going on yesterday, some videos started to show up of what's going on in the Puerto Vallarta area of Mexico. What happened is Mexican authorities took out one of the cartel leaders, and their followers, cartel followers, just went ballistic in that area. They basically, it looked like a war zone in Beirut or something like that in Puerto Vallarta yesterday. People staying, it's a resort area of Mexico, and you have people there from all over the world taking a vacation, and they were told, stay in your hotels, do not go outside, because the cartel members, there were explosions on buses, there were warnings in airports. Airlines canceled flights into Puerto Vallarta because of the danger there. And Fox this morning spoke to former DEA Acting Administrator Derek Maltz and says basically it's not safe to travel in Mexico right now. Cut number 8.
Well, let me just go back to one thing to make it clear. President Trump, before he got elected, said placing the safety and security of Americans will be a top priority, and he's a man of action. So to answer your question about the Americans, No, it's very dangerous in Mexico. It's been dangerous there for many years. Right now, this is a wake-up call for the world about the treachery of the Mexican cartels. That's why President Trump declared them as terrorists. Would the Americans want to go visit, the middle of Al-Qaeda Central, right? So right now, what we're witnessing, especially on social media, it highlights the level of control and power the cartels have in Mexico. They're blowing up buses. They're shutting down roads. There's blockades in up to 20 states. They're burning buildings, right?
Yeah, the United States State Department has issued a warning to Americans: shelter in place. Get a safe place wherever you are in Mexico right now, because the cartels
You mean all over the country?
Are retaliating. Yes.
Puerto Vallarta, is that the way you pronounce it? It's a beach resort, very famous on the Pacific coast of Mexico, and yeah, this is going to hurt tourism, at least temporarily, probably all over Mexico.
I wouldn't go down there right now. I wouldn't go down there, even before this.
Allison and I, we've been to Cancun many times over our lives, and we've really, really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful place, but I wouldn't go today.
Yeah.
Because of the, maybe in the future, I'm not saying, but it's just like these drug cartels. I guess they run the government, or I say run the government. They don't completely run the government, because the government's at war with the drug cartels. But I mean, they have more power than many government officials, and they assassinate the ones that they don't like.
Yeah, mayors and such, they do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sometimes in horrifying ways. And the part of the problem for Mexico is that the country is very corrupt. So you have political leaders on all levels who are basically informants for the drug cartels.
Yeah.
So
a lot of corruption.
Yeah.
In the country of Mexico. Mexican people are great. They
got to live under this.
Yeah.
The Mexican people.
But it's a cycle that's hard to break.
Yeah.
Once the mafia, so to speak, gets control of the city block, they don't give it back very easily.
Plus, the money they make is a huge part of the Mexican economy.
You mean drugs?
Human trafficking. And human trafficking, all of that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's so the people there that are vacationing are trying to get out, but the airport's closed, and or at least the American and Canadian airlines are not flying in there right now. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
When I first started flying, I was scared. Every time I was in an airplane that took off or landed, I was very nervous. However, since I've become accustomed to flying, I find it pretty enjoyable most of the time. In fact, I guess flying has kind of spoiled me. I hate to drive any long distance now. I can recall an experience once when several of us were flying between Athens and Tel Aviv. We hit some turbulence, the worst I've ever experienced. It was so bad that even the stewardess near me got into a seat, fastened her seat belt, and got into the safety position. Well, I happened to be sitting next to a salesman who was very experienced in flying. We had been discussing it, and he told me that he was accustomed to flying and thought nothing of it. It was, he said, the quickest way to get from one point to another. When we first hit the turbulence, I noticed that the salesman suddenly got out of his talkative mood. As we continued in the turbulence, and it grew worse, the salesman grew noticeably nervous. I had become so accustomed to flying by that time that hitting turbulence didn't really bother me that much. I had decided on previous flights that the possibility of a crash was remote and that all my worrying wouldn't prevent a crash. So I concluded that in flying I was going to enjoy myself, and if we crashed, we crashed. It wasn't that I wasn't afraid of crashing or that I didn't mind the possibility that I could die if the plane crashed. It was simply that I had given my life to God, and He'd take care of me even if the plane did crash, and even if I did die. During the turbulence, some of my Christian friends and I made jokes about the quick movements of the plane, laughed, and we had a a good time. Soon the turbulence was over. The salesman sitting next to me called the stewardess and ordered 3 shots of whiskey. Yeah, 3 shots of whiskey. I guess if you haven't got the spirit, you have to have some spirits. Each time I remember that incident, I recall the tale about the very rich man who was flying for the first time. Maybe you've heard it. The plane hit some bad turbulence. The man became frightened. He prayed like he had never prayed before. He promised God that if God would let him get down safely, he would give God half of everything he owned. Well, the turbulence soon ended, and the plane landed safely. When the rich man got off the plane, he was reminded of his prayer by a Christian who had been sitting next to him. I'm sure you're going to carry out your promise, the Christian said. Well, sir, the man replied, I have made God another promise, better than that one. What's that? The Christian asked. Well, the man said, I promised God that if I ever got on another one of those things, I would give him everything I own. Well, my only comment is that there are people like that.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
The Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. Psalm 14:2.
American Family Radio.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, and Fred. In a few minutes, Ed's going to be going over what he's found out about do-it-yourself baby delivery, which we've explored on our YouTube search here.
Yeah. I'll create a list of
okay, if you would, and then put that on our Facebook page
do
for folks. Things to do. We're talking.
If you're ever caught in a blizzard, here's what you need to do.
What do you call it? Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Video.
DIY.
Huh?
DIY.
They're very popular.
Absolutely. We should get in on that.
So we might do a demonstration of some kind.
Well, I'm going to leave that the demonstration for you. I'm doing all the research.
Our listeners may be wondering to themselves, what in the world brought this subject up? Because Tim usually keeps the show right on track.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? And somehow he's been misled by Fred and Ed here. No, what happened was we were talking about, in all seriousness, the blizzard hitting the Northeast right now. And there are a lot of babies that plan to be born yesterday or today or tomorrow, the next day, and it's got to be just chaos there, because you can't travel when you got 12 inches of snow.
Yeah, and can the ambulance get their emergency vehicles?
So anyway.
So we're saying what would happen in that situation, and then you mentioned the do-it-yourself, videos, and we looked it up, and sure enough, there are instructions and videos about how to do that.
How to birth a baby at home or in the car or wherever you may be, at the mall, whatever. Post
Dunkin'
office,
Donuts, wherever.
Donuts, wherever you may be.
Starbucks.
All right, so all right, let's reset right here.
Yes.
Okay. We have with us in our studio Dr. Andy Miller, who's the president of Wesley Biblical Seminary, based in Jackson, Mississippi. Good morning, Andy.
Well, good to see you, Tim. So good to be back.
Do you know anything about delivering babies at home? Or?
Not delivering them at home, but we did do. Our third child wasn't born at home, but was born with a midwife in a bathtub. That was pretty cool.
Was it really?
Wait a minute.
You can tell the truth.
You said, quote,
I will honestly say it was a beautiful thing because the midwife actually guided me, and then I was more active, and I'm going to try to not be too graphic here, but I was involved in the process, and it was a beautiful thing. I was the first one to really hold my daughter, and I put her right with my wife. It was a beautiful moment. Yeah. So, but not without any other assistance. Right? I was thinking beyond just having the home birth, the DIY birthing, is the fact that 9 months from now, with the result of these blizzards, there'll be a baby bump.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah, be a new baby boomer.
American Family, this is good.
Yeah,
this is for
absolutely.
AFA, AFR.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's boost that birth rate.
More blizzards.
Yes,
more
we want
blizzards, more
We
babies.
want more babies.
Yeah.
Or more babies born. So I did get it right. You guys are based in Jackson, Mississippi, right?
Technically, we're in Ridgeland now, which is a suburb. Yeah, just north.
Ridgeland, Mississippi. Well, Wesley Biblical Seminary. People listen to AFR. They know we promote the ministry that you guys have there. You train. What's your primary purpose?
Yeah. We exist to develop trusted leaders for faithful churches.
Okay.
And while our name shows our theological tradition that we come from the Wesleyan holiness tradition, we have students from more than 40 denominations and students all over the world. We're able to bring theological education right to students where they are. Most of our students are serving churches right now. In most churches in the United States, of course, are served by pastors who are bivocational. I'm trying to change that language a little bit to say co-vocational. But it's really this interesting emphasis that we're able to have. Seminaries used to be set up in a way where people would move away, sell their houses, go and live in a place for 4 years. But really what we can do with Zoom and opportunities to engage people in a distributed platform makes it possible for us to serve
40 different denominations?
Oh, yeah. We have 600 plus students.
All right, I got $10 for you right now. If you can name 20 of them, just go.
Okay? Yeah, I'm glad to.
Here we go. No,
so you're gonna wait. Are you?
I'm gonna make a $20 contribution.
Okay.
To Wesley Biblical Seminary if he can name 20 denominations in the next 3 minutes.
I'll be pretty close.
Oh, I thought you meant the students. Name 20 students.
Okay.
Talking about the denominations.
Yeah,
I could be close.
Go, Andy.
Global Methodist, Independent Methodist, Free Methodist, Protestant Methodist, Independent Methodist, Salvation Army, Nazarene, Wesleyan, Congregational Methodist, Baptist, Southern Baptist.
You can do it.
Yeah. Assemblies of God, Church of God Anderson, Church of God Cleveland.
6 more.
Church of God Cleveland. Then I have Anglican Church of North America, the Episcopal Church, the United Methodist Church, the
2 more.
You got about 30
so who else do I have? Pilgrim Holiness Tradition, the Primitive Methodist.
That's it. You made it.
British Methodist Church.
All right,
there we go.
That's impressive.
What about the Snake Handlers of America?
Well, I bet I have a few of those too.
Do you accredit them?
And I forgot all the African American tradition. Kojic, AME, AMEZ, all those groups.
All the African American denominations.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say Pilgrim what?
Pilgrim Holiness.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it's a northeastern group. They're still they combine. Most of them combined with the Wesleyan Church.
Yeah.
About 40 years ago.
Okay.
But there's still a little group of Pilgrim Holiness.
Nice shout out though to Shoah. Snake Handlers of America.
Snake Handlers of America.
That's
well, there are churches where they handle snakes. Have you heard about this?
Of course, I've heard of it.
Have you ever seen it?
It's true.
I'm terrified.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Would you go to one?
No.
There is the Pentecostal holiness tradition, uses the end of Mark. There's variants of it, I should say.
Right.
So they might, and some of them would say it's not all of them. But the last part of Mark talks about snake handling, but that's been shown to be a later variant that was added on, centuries later. So people use that tradition.
Let me just give you just a little personal experience. So back when I was pastoring, working here full time, I was what did you call it? A
co-vocational.
Co-vocational.
Yeah.
And I went to visit a young man who was trying to win to the Lord, and he invited me into his apartment, and he had snakes. And so I'm talking to him. He said, "I want to show you one of my snakes." I said, "No, that's okay. I don't want to see it." And he brings out a rattlesnake.
Oh my goodness!
A rattlesnake.
What, in a jar?
No, in his hands.
Oh my!
And I said, "I'm just going to call him John."
Did we say what you said?
No, I said, "John, get that snake away from me." He says, "If you don't make any sudden moves, he won't bite." And then he let it down on the couch, and I got up. And I said, "Dude, put it away or I'm gone." He said, "Oh, you softy." But
softy.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
he got
Me too.
He got just to show you, he got bit twice over the years. Once in the face by a
Wow.
rattlesnake.
Oh my, I would be done.
Yeah.
Hard to feel sorry for him, though, isn't it?
So when you ask me what I go to
All
a
right.
church handling service, no siree, Bob.
Okay, sorry I asked that question. But
I don't blame you.
You and I have known each other a long time. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That story.
That was a
Well,
scary
it
moment.
can bring up
PTSD.
They can do that to
Yeah.
you, having to recall that story.
That is. I'm going to have to leave the show I'm going to have to go eat something.
Okay, on a more serious note, what do you tell me who our listeners, what do they need to know about Wesley Biblical Seminary?
Yeah.
And how can they connect with you guys?
Look, if people are looking for a seminary that values and lifts up the authority of Scripture and the real promise that exists in the holy life, like emphasizing sanctification, I think we're the seminary for you. And also, we have this platform that brings it to people. So that's led to us, just in the last 3 years, we've more than doubled our size. We have 600 plus students. So
this is really important.
Yeah.
All joking about snakes aside.
Yeah.
This is really important because if America is going to survive and fulfill its promise, the pulpits of America have to be filled with Bible-believing, fire-breathing, not
Amen.
afraid to preach it preachers.
That's my new logo.
Yeah,
Bible
use
being
that.
fire. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I love
So
that.
the seminaries in this country, in a lot of denominations, and in a lot of places here in this country, have gone to the devil.
Yeah.
Okay, they do not believe and teach the Bible. They don't believe it, and they're turning out people who are filling pulpits that are not. They're false shepherds.
Yes,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
yeah.
all. I'm just saying a lot of them. They've gone over to promote homosexuality and many ways, many paths to God. So what Wesley Biblical Seminary is doing is very important. And it sounds to me, by the way, we're talking to Dr. Andy Miller, president of Wesley Biblical Seminary, that if people, let me ask, what if people don't necessarily feel called to the ministry, but they want to learn more?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Will you take them?
Oh, yeah, 100. That's why I say developing trusted leaders for faithful churches. So a lot
Good.
of our students are coming who are like Sunday school class teachers or local lay leaders in various forms. And that's one of the key things I think that is needed. People want to go deeper. And I think the academic rigor that we provide, I mean, we're fully accredited and all those things by the kind of the gold standard accrediting bodies. I think people want deep teaching, and they want that. So they want that in their preachers, but they want it themselves. So we have a host of programs that people can access from bachelor's, master's, doctoral degrees, but also something called the Wesley Institute, which is emphasizing these non-academic programs to give seminary-level teaching to people who are lay leader or just lay members of the church.
Wonderful.
All right, how to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, WBS.edu, WesleyBiblicalSeminary.edu. We'd love for you to check us out.
And so you got how many students now?
We have 634 students today. Yeah.
Wow. And
your dad was supporting us back when we had 20.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons my dad did that, as you know, is because the way the United Methodist Church was trending. And I grew up in the United Methodist Church, as did many of our listeners, and we know what happened to them. They just went totally left-wing wacko and started denying the authority of the Scripture.
Yep.
In many ways, and I don't know how to describe the whole story of what happened there. It happened with other denominations too, during the 60s and 70s, and so my dad said, well, we need to support a conservative Methodist or a Bible-believing Methodist institution. Asbury and was one, and then Wesley Biblical Seminary, another, Asbury in Kentucky. So, to get away, we need to start pushing people of the Methodist tradition and others, as you mentioned to where they can go to get the proper training to be a pastor. Do you guys accredit pastor?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we work with all those denominations that have a formal ordination process.
Ordination, that's the word I was looking for. So anyway, so thank God that you guys came along, and as I mentioned, some others. But man, these
Didn't our own Buddy Smith Hasn't he worked closely with you
He's on the
guys?
board of
Right.
directors.
Yeah.
Yep, Buddy's on our board. He's a wonderful blessing to us. Yeah. So thankful for AFR's influence on WBS. It's a big part of our
Well,
life.
hey, you got another $20 coming.
I know, 20
because
bucks.
you,
I
you
earned
named
20
the
bucks.
20.
I'm going to have to go to ATM.
Hey, we could do Venmo.
Because I don't carry cash. I don't do that either. I'm sorry. I'm like old school. It's like,
What? You're old school, but you don't carry cash.
I don't. I just
Gold.
Anyway,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot,
That's
Tim,
okay.
but you did promise
Listen,
on
if you
national
want-
radio.
I don't even know how much money I have. That's sad, isn't it? I just Allison, my wife, she does all the bookkeeping.
So you like walk into random banks and say, "Do you have some of my money?"
Do I have an account here? Would you check? Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, thanks,
Nate
Tim. God bless
Bargatze
you all.
joke.
Dr. Andy Miller joining us there, president of Wesley Biblical Seminary. Yeah, if you're going to rob me, you're going to be very disappointed.
You're going to have to contact someone in charge.
You might want to move on to somebody else because that's all right. You're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, and Fred. Fred, what's the next story?
I tell you what, so much going on in the world right now, and sometimes the really big stories, such as the United States may attack Iran within days, not weeks. Probably, if you had time during the weekend, you heard the reports of the buildup of our military forces in that area, in the Indian Ocean. We've got at least 4 squadrons of fighter jets now in places like Jordan. By the way, what I heard this morning, we have a base, the United States has a base in Qatar, and we've told our military people there to get out of there. So everything is pointing towards some kind of military action. Former National Security Council Chief of Staff under Trump, Alex Gray, says President Trump has several options to deal with Iran. Cut number 7.
I think the best outcome for the United States here is the president uses a surgical strike to go after the missile program, the terrorist proxies, keep them from reconstituting. I really do worry, and I know the president, just based on his history and what he's said for the last 10 years, shares this concern, is that if we go in and we do something more comprehensive, we're potentially going to get dragged into something we can't control. And so I think a strike that is tailored, surgical, targeted, and is very much focused on taking out the most dangerous elements of the regime's tools is most in the interest of the United States.
Yeah, now some people may say, hey, we did a great job in Venezuela with Maduro, so we can do the same thing in Iran. And I don't think you can say that. I don't think it's going to be as simple. Iran is very different than Venezuela.
Well, okay. Listen, I know Iran, however you want to pronounce it. They're one of the worst players on the world stage in terms of their. We've dealt with them for decades. Okay. Why are we doing this now? What is and what are we? What is President Trump hoping to accomplish? Or what is the goals and objectives here?
Well, I think there are 2 main things, according to my understanding. I'm not privy to any information that anyone else, can glean through the news. But the 2 things that stand out to me are, number 1, the continuing effort of Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Now, we've already hit them once, but it sounds to me like they are trying to reconstitute that program. And so President Trump has made it clear, and as have other presidents, but he's the first one to strike them. We're not going to allow Iran, who is maybe probably the leading promoter of terrorism around the world, we're not going to allow them to get a nuclear weapon. And number 2, the other thing that is maybe, and this answers your question, maybe even a little bit better, Tim, is that Iran seems in the last couple of months or whatever to have been closer than ever before to changing regimes. and overthrowing the Ayatollah/mullah-led religious leadership of Iran, and maybe having some kind of a pro-Western, more free country. And I think that there's probably consideration that if we strike facets of the government, that might encourage the Iranians who are trying to make that regime change, and maybe even the military, change their minds and turn against the mullahs.
Fred?
That's all I can think of.
Well, and to Ed's point, the rebellion that's been going on there and the reports indicate that the regime has killed thousands of these protesters. You may remember back a few weeks ago, President Trump, when these protests broke out, and they're huge, President Trump said what? Help is on the way. So he almost put himself in a position, and putting the United States in a position, that if we were to back away now, it would not be good.
Okay.
Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, he says Iran is not interested really in making a deal. They are not interested. They're talking that way, but in no way are they interested in any caps on their development of nuclear energy and a nuclear weapon. And they're in no way interested in cutting back on their ballistic missile development as well. They remain a very dangerous character in that area of the world. And if the United States was to back down now, no telling what would happen. Our current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is going back to Israel this week, within 48 hours, I believe, to have a meeting on this. I think we are headed in the direction of some kind of confrontation.
Okay, there is a difference between what that fellow was mentioning a moment ago, a surgical strike, which you can do with one warship. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Okay, so a surgical strike, which was what he said, which is the least use of force. There's a difference between that and help is on the way. We're going to kill the leaders that are oppressing you, and we're going to bomb them to oblivion. And it's going to be a new day in Iran. You see those are two different things. Am I right?
Right. Regime
so which
change.
one is it we're going to do here?
I think if President Trump is going to do this, going to pull the trigger and attack Iran, I think he wants regime change, for the very simple reason that the mullahs, because of their religious mania and because of their hatred of Israel and the United States, they are never going to stop wanting to get nuclear weapons and use them against those two countries, and probably threaten other countries in the Middle East. So I think it's going to be the latter. I don't think this is just going to be a surgical strike. We already did this. We already hit them and set them back, and now they have been going full bore to try to reconstitute that nuclear program.
Okay, may I interject something that's not going to be popular with some of our listeners?
Sure.
It seems to me what we're about to do requires congressional approval. What you guys have described as an act of war. Now, you might say, well, we haven't had a congressionally approved war since World War II. I don't know, the Korean War, was the Korean War?
I don't think we ever declared war. We certainly didn't declare an end to it.
Okay, well, maybe. Do you guys see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does it matter anymore?
No.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Whoever the president is gets to do what he wants to.
Well, because of the War Powers Act, this was in the wake of Vietnam, where technically the president is allowed, because circumstances move so quickly, the president is allowed to commit military troops to a conflict and then inform Congress, but then has 30 days, I think I get this right, 30 or 60, I think it's 30 days, to then get congressional approval. Well, I don't know that we've had much in the way of congressional approval, but presidents now, whether it's, George W. Bush or Barack Obama we're allowed to turn the military loose without congressional approval. But to your point,
we're about to go to war with Iran.
But we already hit them.
It's
an act of war.
It's an act of war. It's kind of a blurred line constitutionally, because you don't want your president, the commander-in-chief, certainly don't want his hands tied in the case of a national emergency where we need to respond militarily to some action in the world. But at the same time, if you're going to commit to a regime change and you're sending all these warships to the Middle East, getting ready to enact a regime change plan for Iran, then militarily you're going to just bomb them into glass, basically.
Well, I would say I think the targets would be more surgical. I think the possibility would hit their nuclear development capabilities, but I don't think anything's off the table. I think if we're going to go to war and do this, we'll sink their navy, we'll destroy their air force, but I don't think we'll turn Iran into glass, because we want the military to say enough of this. We will perform a coup against the mullahs, and you want the people of Iran to be on your side, and so you don't destroy their infrastructure, I think.
If this were a Democrat president gearing up to do this, would our side be saying, no, wait a minute, you need congressional approval before you get us involved in another foreign war?
There might be some, but when it comes to Iran, that may be something that
is bipartisan?
Republicans, yes, I do believe.
Okay.
I mean, the jury's not out anymore. The jury has come back with a full decision.
You think they're going to know where these mullahs are hiding and try to kill them?
Yes.
I personally don't think they should be killing political leaders. Okay, I think they should be taking out military infrastructure and the nuclear. I don't believe in killing the leaders, because that comes back to bite you.
Yeah. Oh, and right there, you also don't believe in handling rattlesnakes.
No, that's right.
As a religious expression.
That can come back to bite you too.
See what you did there?
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Came back to bite you. You used it twice.
Yep.
Both metaphorically.
Absolutely, because I'm not going to be doing it literally.
We shall be back in 5 minutes with more.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
It's been proven again and again and again.
Bert Harper.
The verification of the dates, the verification of the genealogies, it puts spiritual iron in my spiritual blood to know that we can depend upon the Word of God.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. President Trump honored the families of those killed by illegal aliens in a White House ceremony this morning. Today is Angel Family Day, and President Trump says he's telling a story that the media and Democrats don't want to hear.
These are the angel families that we love, that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored, and I've seen it. When I first got involved with the angel families, I had a meeting. It was so sad. And they got up and spoke, and the media literally just turned off the cameras. They didn't want to hear them. That was my first glimpse as to what was happening. These are sick people. I don't know why the news doesn't want to hear it. The Democrats don't want to hear it. The radical left, they don't want to hear it. What's not to hear? We want to stop murderers and criminals from coming into our country.
Airports throughout the country are being impacted by the ongoing nor'easter blizzard. Connor Hansen reporting from Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport.
Hundreds of flights have been canceled just today here in Washington, D.C., although we are seeing some still take off. It's a lot worse situation in New York and Boston, but overall, nearly 20,000 flights have been impacted by this blizzard, and that is through tomorrow. So this is a huge impact here. Around 40 million Americans were put under a blizzard warning yesterday as people braced for the worst snow in years. And this storm, of course, comes while DHS is partially shut down during the ongoing funding debate in Congress. Now TSA says TSA PreCheck will keep running, but it will evaluate on a case-by-case basis.
Authorities continuing to investigate the fatal shooting of a suspect at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate over the weekend. Alexandria Hoff reports.
Fortunately, the president was here in Washington. He had hosted the governor's dinner just a few hours prior. And for someone of sound mind, that would have been pretty easy to figure out. But again, Mar-a-Lago is known as the winter White House for the weekends that the president spends there. Still a lot of piecing together to do when it comes to this suspect, identified as 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. Authorities say he was able to breach Mar-a-Lago's secure perimeter around 1:30 yesterday morning. He was allegedly armed with a recently purchased shotgun and a gas canister. He was quickly confronted by a sheriff's deputy and 2 Secret Service agents. Martin was shot and killed.
The USA men's hockey team won the gold medal at the 2026 Winter Olympics Sunday, beating Canada 2-1 in overtime. Team USA honored the late Johnny Gaudreau, who could have made the Olympic team but was killed along with his brother in a drunk driving accident in 2024. The team brought Gaudreau's children onto the ice after the game. Sister of the late hockey player, Katie Gaudreau, says she's grateful for the tribute.
It truly meant the world to us. Because honestly, this is what John wanted for his children. He wanted them to experience these experiences, these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities that he worked so hard for.
A Virginia group expresses concern over a large planned data center. Robert Thornton has more.
As we have reported on AFN, some Texas residents are concerned about data centers and their effect on the state's electrical grid and water resources. Now, Virginia residents are speaking up against a planned project next to the Manassas National Battlefield Park. Elena Schlossberg is the director of the Coalition to Protect Prince William County. She made these comments on Fox News.
It is in a drinking water supply watershed for the region that includes almost 1 million people. And it simply is in the wrong place. And it was done without proper oversight. The Board of Supervisors, in a lame duck vote, because 2 of them had been voted out, passed it in spite of the fact that there was a problem with the simple notification.
She said it would be the largest data center in the world at about 1,900 acres.
We don't know how much water. They wouldn't disclose that. They wouldn't disclose where the buildings are. We are guessing how much power. We know there's at least 12 substations. We are estimating 6 gigawatts of power. And what that means is that's as much power as 6 nuclear reactors. And what we're saying is, what are you foisting upon the community?
Schlossberg said that during a recent winter weather event, data centers relied on gas or diesel generators, which spewed pollutants, including lots of noise. She went on to say it's a nonpartisan issue in Virginia. I'm Robert Thornton.
There's more online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildman and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Tim, Ed, and now Steve Paisley Jordahl.
Good morning, everybody.
Joined us. Good morning, Brother Steve. Good weekend for you there?
Well, I wasn't feeling really hot this weekend. I was at home during the hockey game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, honestly, I have a...
You mean you could have been at church?
My wife was at church.
Okay,
I
you
have a
didn't go.
chest cold.
Right. You didn't want to give it to other people.
I didn't.
That's very, very nice of you, Steve.
I tuned into the hockey game literally 3 seconds or so after that goal, the winning
To win it?
goal. Yeah,
Okay.
because I heard the announcer say, the first time in
46
years. That was something. And I tell you, I watched a little bit of the coverage, and I wept. And the reason I wept is that it had been so long since I'd heard anybody speak so positively about America. You guys played Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
We did.
So positively about this country. I want to play just a couple little things. Ed, you brought up the Kurt Russell introduction to the game, which I didn't watch, I didn't hear, but I did.
He's the actor.
He's the actor,
and he's famous for a number of roles. But he played the part of Coach Herb Brooks, who coached the 1980 team that beat the Soviets.
Right.
And so he's well known for that role by hockey fans.
Yeah, and so NBC asked him to do an introduction to the game, and this is what that sounded like, cut 13.
The United States has not won an Olympic gold in men's hockey since 1980. 46 years have gone by treasuring a miracle. Wouldn't you say it's about time to celebrate something else?
When he shoots, he scores!
This team isn't lucky to be here. They've earned it. But so have they. This isn't David and Goliath. It's a clash of the Titans. It's Kong versus Godzilla. And if you love this sport as much as I do, you know how rare and how precious this is. Watching the two best hockey teams in the world face off.
Yeah, so that was
It gave me chills listening to it.
So what gave me chills is after the game, they took a camera into the locker room of the Team America, and they caught them singing. It's a Toby Keith song from years ago, but it's a patriotic song. And you can hear a little bit of it. I don't recommend the whole song. It's got some imagery that may not be family friendly.
Right.
but
these are hockey players after all.
Right. But what I'm going to play for you is cleaned up a bit. So
these are members of the Team USA men's hockey team.
This is Team USA moments after they were awarded their gold medals in their locker room celebrating. Cut 14. That just was, that to me is, you can hear, you might not be able to understand the words, but you can hear the excitement and patriotism and pride in their voice.
Which is extraordinary nowadays. That's what's strange about where our country is. You have, now I think it's probably a fairly small percentage of people in this country who seem to hate the nation.
They get an inordinate amount of
very
attention.
Influential, and they get a lot of press.
Right.
And there were a couple of athletes who had already won medals at the Olympics for the U.S., and when they were in front of the media, they took that opportunity to take a shot at some of the problems and some of the things that they think are wrong with the country. This was so refreshing, and like you said, this is inspiring. And the I don't know what the women did. They won the gold against Canada as well.
In overtime as well?
In overtime. So,
Big story.
Let me just toss this in.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't like about social media in the aftermath of this game, I did see a lot of Americans. You remember when I was growing up, my parents said you can't be a poor sport if you lose, and you can't be a poor winner. And I saw a lot of people who were ugly towards Canadian fans. So I don't like to see that. That's unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't either. But this is Yankees Red Sox.
That is true.
This is like
some of it was funny. The White House put out a meme or something with a bald eagle, the symbol of America, having already pounced on a Canadian goose.
Oh yeah,
and that came from.
I think
Trump
a lot
White
of
House.
what people come back with in sports is when the other side taunts them prior to the game,
and that did happen.
And then like, we're going to bury you, and then they don't.
Yeah.
They actually lose to the team. Everybody said that we're going to bury you.
That did happen.
Okay, then you're not going to get any grace at all.
That's true.
If you get beat, because it's going to be back in your face. That's just the way sports works, right there.
That is true.
But you're right. There used to be some decorum.
It's gone.
Before the social media advent of social media, it used to be reserved just to radio and things like that. All right, next story, Steve.
All right, this weekend, early Sunday morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning, a 21-year-old man from North Carolina, his name was Austin Tucker Martin, penetrated the fences at Mar-a-Lago. He was carrying a shotgun and a can of gasoline. The Secret Service and Florida Sheriff's Office engaged and shot and killed the man. We're still trying. I mean, a lot of people are still doing a deep dive.
Was President Trump even there?
He was not.
Neither was the First Lady.
No one under Secret Service protection was at the Mar-a-Lago at the time.
So this guy drove from North Carolina down there?
Apparently, yeah.
What was wrong with him?
Well, they're trying to figure that out. I don't know. Have you looked into that, Ed, at all? Or?
Well, nobody knows right now. In fact, the only thing I've read, by the way, he showed up with a gas can and a shotgun, which they believe he purchased on the way. But the only thing I have read is that family members and friends describe the 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin as being an individual who's afraid of guns and comes from a family of pro-Trump Republicans. So, but they did say he was quiet. And so who knows what was going on in his mind.
I heard that they also notified, he was gone less than 24 hours when they put an APB out on him, which for a 21-year-old seems a little quick.
Yeah.
And also they notified the Secret Service or federal agents that he was gone. And why would they do that unless they thought that there might be some kind of a threat?
So, I'm looking at a story right here on our very own American Family News website, afn.net.
I recommend it.
You recommend it?
I do.
And so it says the investigation is ongoing. So this is going to be another one of these things where we're going to have to wait, and hopefully we do find something out and that it is released without having to pull a tooth, where you have to file a Freedom of Information request to get some info on it.
Well, he was white, so that helps. That's the first paragraph on all the stories.
Well, all these guys have been, a lot of these shooters, they're all white.
Yeah. Well, and
what does that matter?
I'm just saying, the media is not going to hesitate to let you know what was wrong with this guy if there's something wrong with him. The fact that his family was a Trump supporter. I mean, all of that is grist for the mill for the media. They'll release that information
unless
very quickly.
And there's no indication that he's transgender.
Trans.
But if he is trans, that's when you get it. Then that becomes difficult. You don't get any info.
I want to play you something because Laura Trump was on Fox this morning, and she had an interesting point. She's very emotional about this, too. Cut 5.
You know, you have to ask yourself, whenever you just casually throw around terms like Nazi, like fascist, like Hitler, and racist, what do you think the consequences of that ultimately will be? We are better than this as a country. And I'll tell you, as a family member, I keep wondering, how many chances does one man get? He's not going to be lucky enough at some point. Thank God he wasn't at Mar-a-Lago and the First Lady wasn't there this weekend. But you don't get lucky every single time.
That's
she. What is she?
She's saying escaping assassination attempts, I think is what she's saying.
Yeah, she means. I mean, this is the third assassination attempt on the man.
Okay, I'm not denying, but he wasn't even there.
No.
But
so
how can you have an assassination attempt if the guy isn't even on premises?
Well,
depends on what the person intended.
That's one of the arguments, but I don't know why you would bring a shotgun to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I know, but the guy was nutso. He didn't even know he wasn't there. He hadn't even checked it out.
No, but if he didn't know, it was still then he was still attempting to kill the man. If he didn't know,
okay.
I doubt he was looking for geese on the property.
I mean, thank God he wasn't there.
Right.
But I mean, it's just not. This guy was actually there. Anybody who attempts to kill the president, by definition, is nutso.
Right.
Okay, I would say that. I'm just saying the guy was not not aware enough to even plan it out to know as much that President Trump wasn't even there. It sounded like to me he was some sort of a mentally ill person or
Yeah, I don't know.
understand?
I mean, I'm just thinking if it's my house, if someone has tried to, I don't know, do harm to my wife, and they almost succeed once, and they almost succeed twice, and then we're at church, someone breaks into our house and they have a shotgun and a can of gas, it doesn't take much for me to assume someone's taking a third shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But that's certainly what Laura Trump was saying.
Right. She was
saying, what was she saying?
She was saying, she was talking about the fact that the atmosphere being created by the language used by the left in characterizing President Trump as a Nazi, a fascist, a racist, a threat to democracy, all those kind of things. She says, I'm putting words in her mouth. She's saying, I'm afraid that language is going to continue to drive people to try to kill the president, and that at some point, I'm afraid they may succeed. Is that a fair?
In this case, I did read where family members said, or some people who knew this man said, how old is this guy, 25?
21.
21, that he was obsessed with the Epstein files.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I did not.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That could be.
That was his motivation. That's what I read. So I'm just saying this guy was
right.
Something was wrong with him mentally.
Indeed.
All right, you're listening to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Well, the use of those inflammatory words to describe President Trump have,
and the rest of us,
they've been using
Christians,
they've been using it for, they've been using that, and you're right. It is, I guess, for somebody who's off balance, it doesn't help when you call people Nazis, because Nazis deserve to be killed.
Yeah, you got to save the nation.
Right,
from the Nazis.
From the fascists. You're listening to today's Issues on AFR. Next story, Steve.
There is a video meme that has been going around Britain recently. I want to play you a little bit of it. This is an AI video. Every bit of this is AI, but it makes a point.
And by the way, before this is becoming a thing in the UK. It's called Amelia, right?
Right.
Is that it? That's the AI creation who is anti-illegal immigrant,
anti-Islam,
and groomer gangs,
right,
and pro UK, pro England.
I was going to get there.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I thought you were going to jump in.
No, but it is. It's a lady a meme of a lady they have dubbed Amelia. It's totally an AI creation, but this is the point that she is making. Let's listen to a little bit of this. Cut 12.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm English, and I love England. I like having fish and chips at the local pub. I like Shakespeare and Dickens, Tolkien and Lewis. I like pork sausage and dogs and fashion.
Haram! Haram!
But I don't like that. Brits are famously polite, but it mustn't mean we're willing to commit cultural suicide. Sadiq Khan, the mayor, this is London, mate, not Afghanistan. Or Star Wars. How did we go from Churchill to you git? Our government won't even protect our schoolgirls from grooming gangs. The police won't help. They're too busy confiscating garden tools and suppressing free speech.
That's right, miss. What have I done, officer? You've tweeted rudely, and you're under arrest.
Curry is fine, but we have several recipes already. We don't need 2 million Indians here to make it for us. There are 50 Islamic nations in the world. Muslims don't need to be on our island. They want to conquer it.
I love Amelia. By the way, in the middle of that, a man was shouting haram, haram.
Yeah.
Which I just looked up. I kind of knew what it meant, but it
unclean
specifically means sinful or forbidden according to Islam.
Right.
And you see this in real videos in London and elsewhere in Europe where they will shout haram to people of that nation who are practicing and doing what they want simply because it's forbidden by Islam.
Right. And this is the point. There are a lot of people are saying that this is not just, they're not just looking for a place to live, that they are purposefully.
What was she talking about the Indians for?
That's part of the
They're not Muslim.
No, but it's the illegal immigration.
It's
but
immigration.
not illegal. I'm sorry. In Europe, it's mostly legal immigration.
But they've imported.
But they're changing the culture, is what she's saying.
No immigrant in England or Europe, or frankly anymore in the United States, understands the word assimilate.
Right.
That's not in the vocabulary. I want to tell you that there was, over the weekend, hundreds of Muslims took over Times Square, laid mats down, and said an evening prayer, disrupting everything because they think that their religion is better and more important, and that they can just do this because they feel special as Muslims. And they are. It can be argued. I've heard many, and you probably have too, Ed, Tim, several imams that have been posted online saying, we're not interested in assimilating. Every household in America will bow the knee to Allah, whatever.
That's part of their religion.
It is.
Their religion is a religion of conquest. And there are, in Islamic religious doctrine, there are two houses. There is the House of Islam and the House of War. The House of Islam is, and it's called Dar al-Islam, are nations that are under Sharia law, under control of Muslims. And everything else is outside of that, and it's called the House of War. And they are told, they are commanded by their religion to conquer all these other countries and bring them into subjection.
And it'll start peacefully as immigrants and by birth rates and such, but it won't end peacefully.
Now, by the way, this in Times Square, these were Muslims who they didn't have not a license. What do you call it when you have to get from the
permit?
Permit, yeah, thank you. They didn't have a permit to do this. They just did it. They blocked the traffic.
Yeah.
And I want to know why they weren't arrested. I mean, if Christians, I keep going back to this. If Christians decided without a permit, we're going to block traffic and have a worship service, I mean, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they wouldn't make a scene. But there would be legal consequences, I feel sure.
I got to tell you, if I had happened upon that, you might have heard the Lord's Prayer several times very loudly.
Yeah.
Out of me. It's happening. We know it's happening in Minnesota. We've kind of documented that. We know also we've found out that about 50 mosques have opened up in Dallas, Fort Worth area in the last 24 months because of an increase in Muslims there.
That seems to be a targeted area.
Yeah, Texas.
For these Islamic leaders.
Well, you got 7 million people that live there.
Yeah.
In the Metroplex, so you're going to have some Muslims.
But they're increasing. They're coming abnormally.
So let me ask you guys. So you guys for forbidding Muslims from immigrating to the U.S.? Is that what you're for?
I think
a religious test.
No, you can't legally do it. But here's what I am in favor of. I was just kidding about forbidding them. I could probably be convinced at some point. What I am in favor of is the U.S. government and culturally, you're not going to get this on universities, understanding that Islam is not just a religion, it is an ideology that is also political. And I'm for educating everyone in America that Islam is, as currently being practiced, is a threat to Western values. And while they may have the legal right at this point to practice their religion, if they continue to, as we have seen in places like around Minneapolis, insist on Sharia law, all that's got to be broken up.
You know,
Western culture and Western civilization has never been able to live with Islam, and Islam up until the 1600s when they tried to conquer Vienna, 1683, but starting all the way back to sweeping across North Africa, turning some of the most Christian nations in the world into Islamic, part of the Islamic movement, trying to go up and conquer France, stopped by Charles Martel in the 700s, 732, I think it was. They have been trying to conquer the West since their inception. And this is simply, in my opinion, the way they're doing this by flooding into Europe and now coming into the United States. I take your point. It's a good point, Tim. There's still a very small percentage here in this country, less than 1%. But I have no doubts that they are trying to take a shot at the United States. And if they started to gain momentum, converting college students, young people to Islam, that percentage could grow very quickly.
Okay. I have one more story I'd like to get to if I can.
Okay with me.
All right.
My rant is over.
This is a sixth grader in Chicago. His school, they allowed the students to walk out of class for an anti-ICE raid. And this was a special needs.
The school allowed these students to do it?
The school allowed these students to do it. This is a special needs child. His name is Richard Harley, got caught up in this thing, and they left him. He got lost. And I want you to hear this, cut 11.
This afternoon, a mother says she just wants answers after her special needs son is found wandering miles away from his school when he was supposed to be in class.
I don't feel safe. I'm just scared to go back. There's something could happen that same day again.
11-year-old Richard Harley says he doesn't want to go back to class after he was found wandering, scared and alone, miles away from school grounds following a student-led walkout protesting ICE.
They were supposed to stay on 72, by the school, but they did the exact opposite. It went just way more farther, and no one even knew, how far they were going.
So you kind of got...
I was like the last one, so I was all alone.
His mother says she was not notified about the walkout, and because her son has special needs and an individualized education program, or IEP, takes issue with him being allowed to leave campus without supervision or parental authorization.
There was ABC 7 News in Chicago. It was Dundee Middle School.
I don't know how you get... when I was growing up, I know that sounds totally old manish, but
Okay,
we had to have permission slips to leave the school and go on a class trip anywhere. I don't know how they're just a lot of these schools are just taken over by leftists. How do you take a whole class out of school off campus without parental permission?
You just do it, and there's probably a lawsuit coming.
Wow. Well,
right,
this
we're
happy
out of time.
Monday.
We're out of time, people. That's probably a good thing.
Unfortunate.
Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
No, this was good. This was good information.
Yep.
We had some fun.
Yep. We know that you don't like to handle rattlesnakes.
If you didn't know something about, you learned something today.
We did establish that.
Yeah.
How long did you stay there at that guy's apartment?
That was probably 5 minutes. When it became clear that this young man was not going to put the snake up,
right,
I was gone.
You were gone?
Yep.
Was that a church visitation?
It was church visitation.
Yeah. So you deemed him and doomed him to hell.
I did. Wherever he is now, wasn't on me.
It's not on Ed.
That's right.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, everybody.